Hello everybody, welcome back for StarCraft 2 action. It's the Homestory Cup, it's the grand finals. It's GuMiho going up against ShoWTimE in a Terran versus Protoss best of 7. And we started off on Oceanborn. Now, GuMiho, we saw him in Group B play against Protosses such as Skillus and Gerald. And he also played against Sebestes, but we didn't cast that on this channel. Skillus took a pretty convincing 2-0. Gerald lost narrowly 1-2. Good series, by the way. The first game, mwah. Third game, mwah. If you want to watch that one back, it's pretty good. It's worker discounts all around. But GuMiho was favoring a style where he goes for a factory before CC in the opening almost every time. He prefers to get a lot of siege tanks, heavy marauder count, doesn't really make a lot of medevacs early, prefers to get like a lib or a raven, 2 cyclones on top of the siege tanks. Like, he likes to use his gas for other units and not just go straight into like a bunch of medevacs with 3 racks. He might still pull that out. It's a best of 7, so you can do a lot. And GuMiho already adapting a little bit or changing it up, going for CC before the factory. And ShoWTimE, we saw him against Hero Marine, and he showed a plethora of styles, but it was mostly revolving around the Colossus, where he goes Big Gateway with Colossus, he goes Phoenix with Colossus, he can do a Blink Opener as well, and then usually goes into a few Colossus, then adds on Disruptors right away. So as the Terran, you kind of want to be ready for those Colossus with either Vikings or Ravens, or I guess tanks can do a little bit. Or you want to hit them early when they can't defend, which is used to be a very popular way of defending against Phoenix Colossus, where you just pull the boys, you build like turrets in the front, and you just go with like the first 4 to 6 Vikings. So you just rush him down, because they just don't have enough defenses. Now let's see, GuMiho has a Reaper that hasn't seen too much. He has confirmed the natural, sorry for the word camera there, and we do see ShoWTimE opening up with the Twilight Console. We've seen him do this versus Hero Marine, and now he's doing it against GuMiho. GuMiho also showed his 1 proxy Marauder build, I think versus Skillus. Wasn't Site Delta, but he goes again for, wow, concussive grenades on Marauders with some Hellions here. This is going to be a really weird Hellbat push, or this is a little wonky. So a pretty early move out, probably going to come out here from GuMiho. Kind of Pult-esque to make a couple extra Marauders and drop them into his main. Snipe some pylons. We're going to see something here. Robos being added on here for ShoWTimE. Builds 2 gateways at the front, so delayed the second gateway a little bit. And that helps you a lot with potential Hellion run-bys. As soon as you saw the first Hellion, you're kind of like, I don't see his main base, so I don't know if it's a reactor factory, and if suddenly 6 Hellions show up in my mineral line, a couple of them might just die. We see 4 gateways for ShoWTimE here, so we can actually make a substantial amount of Stalkers. When Blink finishes up, we have the Robo, so we can get a War Prism, an Observer, or both. And look at this, 3 Marauders with concussive grenades are in this medevac. And that is not very common. So let's see what happens here. Maybe he pushes the front with the Marauders, drops the Hellions in the main. He does not have an armory, so they won't be Hellbats. But, oh, he's using the Marauders to bust the front, basically, making sure that these Stalkers can't stand their ground. There is no shield battery. So, ShoWTimE getting caught with his pants down a little bit. The Mauer for getting a couple bricks in that wall. Stalkers going down to the Marauders. And only 2 Hellions remain, or a Reaper and a Hellion. So good target fire from ShoWTimE. Takes down a lot of those Hellions before they can do damage to the probe line. And yes, he did trade a bunch of Stalkers away. 2 Adepts and 6 Stalkers. But he survives. And now he can think about counterattacking with his 4 gateways worth of Stalker production. And how is GuMiho going to stop that? He has 1 siege tanks right now. He's building a bunker. And this medevac always getting caught, actually. Does not have the boost. Now it comes off cooldown. Does not get the boost out. Actually gets shot out of the air. These Marauders... Oh, no. Both of them get sniped. And ShoWTimE takes a little bit of revenge for that attack and puts GuMiho on the back foot here. GuMiho super defensive with his 2 siege tanks in his main base. Third racks underway. No third racks or a CC. And we do see +1 starting up, but these Stalkers are poised to blink into the main, and they do. Remember Mana versus Ryung on this map. It's so annoying to deal with these Stalkers. I think that was Alcyone, actually, but still. These main bases that are just slightly too big for the Terran's preferences. This bunker does not have a unit in it. ShoWTimE could walk past. He's gonna do it. He sees the tank. He blinks atop of the tank, gets the snipe. And that is not good for GuMiho. The medevac almost gets targeted down as well. This Viking's not going to do much. Like, it can land, does bonus damage to this mechanical stalker unit. But a lot of SCVs are getting targeted down here on the bunker. More units going down. And I think ShoWTimE is very happy with his position. Third base halfway done. We see a robotic support bay. We see the forge. And a bunch more gateways being added on. So once again, we have big gateway man with Colossi support. Might go straight into the disruptors, but he has sniped, I think, 2 medevacs so far. So Colossus are going to be wonderful here. You know you've sniped the early Marauders as well. So it's going to be pretty hard for GuMiho to have a high Marauder count. And so dealing with the Colossi is going to be pretty annoying. Only 1 Robo for ShoWTimE at this point. But I'm expecting like 1 or 2 Colossi, probably with range, or most certainly with range. And one of them is coming out. Of course, you could make 1 Colossi and then go straight into the Disruptor, kind of forcing the Terran to invest into Vikings, even though he only has 2 medevacs as of now. The bio count is high enough to kind of make it impossible for the Stalkers to walk into the army, click a medevac, and then blink out. Kind of what they did there, but they targeted a Marine instead of the medevac. The Marine did not get 1 shot. Oh, the recall here actually slightly out of position. But there was a drop here. We missed a little bit. 9 probes going down, so GuMiho, good job distracting ShoWTimE and me. Gets 9 probes for his trouble, so that brings GuMiho kind of back into the game. Uses this temporary lapse of map control to get his 3rd in position. So just building it on the spot that he wants to put it at. That's a little bit more risky, obviously, because it could get denied. But if it's already there, you can just Maynard over the extra SCVs you already have and start mining right away. So definitely worth the risk here for GuMiho, using his map control. Very well, exploiting that little advantage that he does have. Warpism ready to fly in, but this medevac's also ready to fly in. The second Colossus is on the field. More barracks being added on here. Another engineering bay and armory. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is that GuMiho is kind of comfortable just playing a longer game. He played this map versus Gerard and... Or Gerald, sorry. Gerard is the... oh, hallucinated probes. Look at that. That's very cool. But yeah, not the Witcher guy, but Gerald, the StarCraft guy. They played a pretty long map on this map specifically. And GuMiho, I think, was in the other position, and he went for his Ghost transition and his Liberator transition pretty early compared to some of the other Terrans that I've seen. He is kind of okay starting that transition when he's on 3 bases, whereas I feel like most of the Terrans kind of want to take a 4th and abuse their high bio count, high medevac count a little bit more before ever committing to the Liberator. Like, that feels like a big difference between some of the Terrans, where some of them go into the Ghost, but they neglect the Liberator for a long time. The drop is in here. ShoWTimE, the not really a ninja Prism. He announced his arrival pretty early, but GuMiho not able to deal with all of these zealots right now. His army standing in a potential 4th might have killed like a probe and denies that position, but the other side, a 4th is being taken. SCVs are dying in the main base, and this army's just sitting there. And ShoWTimE is waiting for him to commit. He's waiting for him to like pounce into the natural desperation Hail Mary attack. But no, GuMiho goes back with some of the units and, of course, the reinforcements. Cleans up those Zealots. The War Prism has been killed, and, of course, the Zealots as well. Little counter damage was done with a Widowmine drop, and this drop doesn't do much. ShoWTimE, as we expect of him, is in a defensive position. Ooh, GuMiho's positioning now paying off. He has a little Marine here, making sure that the army doesn't pass him by, and he's just standing there waiting for a big zombie run-by, or a Zealot run-by, to run into his arms, his, like, welcoming arms. And 4th Command Center being placed on location as well. Now here we do see the Ghost Academy starting up. 2-2 is underway for GuMiho as well. And as I said, he's kind of comfortable with playing this late game. This Observer doing God's work, or at least doing his job very well. Or its job, I guess. I don't know if it has a gender. It's a Dutch thing. We just call everything he. We just give everything a male pronoun for whatever reason. Instead of saying it, we say he. We can say it. There's a word for it, but we're just kind of, I don't know. Colloquially, we just kind of say he about everything we don't know for sure. You know? If we don't know for sure it's an object, we say he. If it could have a gender, I guess. Except for words that are obviously female, I guess. But getting back into the game, 5 disruptors on the map, 6 disruptors on the map, 3 colossi, bunch of zombies, and some stalkers. More gateways being added on. That this is where ShoWTimE becomes very comfortable. He is about to have 13 warp gates on the map. He is maxed, so his remaxes are going to be brutally fast. We have 2 robos as of now. Oh my god, look at that. He's just investing all of his minerals into the gateways right now. ShoWTimE is not expecting a recession to come. And look at this Zealot run by. Oh! Little pat on the back for that planetary. It's kind of like when you swing a piece of champagne, like a bottle of champagne, into a ship. That's kind of what they did there. Just shoot some concussive grenades at it, you know. It's a fortress after all. And GuMiho with the multi-prong. He has 2 army groups here. One at the top, one at the bottom. The EMPs go down on the army, soften it up for the tanks to rain down on that army and further soften it up, and then the bio can clean up. And interesting to see that no Liberators as of yet, even though ShoWTimE did not show like any Stargate tech, where I feel like Liberators are like worst against Protosses that just kind of go into Tempest early by themselves. Which is not the case for ShoWTimE, but he did show a very, very Stalker-centric early game. Even though Stalkers aren't like amazing against Libs, maybe GuMiho just doesn't like Liberators with like a 2-prong style. Now we do have the Ghost, but we do not have the Storm upgrade. But the Ghosts are still very effective against Oh my god! Oh no! Oh, walks up a ramp and he's going to be down a game if ShoWTimE is able to push his advantage from here. That was 30 supply. Thanos out of existence. And ShoWTimE becoming a lot more aggressive, smelling blood in the water. And I mean, there was a lot of blood spilled on the left side of the map. Protoss army can't quite make it up this ramp. We've seen that multiple times on Oceanborn, and I love these siege tanks in GuMiho's army, still providing that anchoring. And ShoWTimE is finding a way in here. Widowmine does kill 1 Zealot. Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friends. And he's just maneuvering, trying to find GuMiho slightly out of position, and now he finds a place to A-move into the Protoss exclusive, or, well, the specialty, I suppose. Oh my god, the Disruptor slightly out of position, but we do have 1 or 2 more shots remaining. Lots of Disruptors actually going down there. This tank, worth his weight in gold right now. More command centers being added on here for GuMiho, really preparing for a late game situation. And GuMiho manages to hold on here on this high ground, this sensor tower, providing that much needed scouting information of where that army is. The 5th base has been scouted by ShoWTimE. He's rotating around to try and deal with that. But GuMiho, he's in the know. He feels it. 10 zealots just being rapid fired out. And GuMiho is in position. Siege tank now only just sieging up. The disruptor ball blows up that siege tank. I kind of expected it to do a little bit less damage to a siege tank. And this is a lot of Marines actually, and still 3 Colossi on the map. These Marines are just going to get evaporated. 2 Vikings underway. We do see the fusion core, but I don't think this 5th base can be saved. GuMiho, he is healing the PF here, but he's just losing money, not really killing anything with the PF. You know, the PF doesn't get any attack upgrades. Would be kind of funny. 2 Widow Mines try to anchor. Oh, the Disruptor does miss, and GuMiho is in the backline. Maybe he can clean up a bunch of reinforcements. And the Disruptor balls, they are exposed, but they expose GuMiho to death. And his whole army just gets blown up. GuMiho can't hold on to his 5th base and tries to pounce on the army of ShoWTimE, but ShoWTimE keeps his disruptors out of harm's way long enough. These Colossi, brilliant Colossi. Like, they just got so much value. I think there was only 1 starport, and yeah, GuMiho not investing in that 2nd starport, even though he was going for the fusion core. Maybe he thought he had a 2nd one, but basically he did not have a lot of Vikings. 7 fell, 2 on the map, like only 9 Vikings. Not really concerned with dealing with those Colossi, and of course you don't want to overmake any Vikings, but in these fights, these Colossus were magnificent, and the siege tanks did a pretty good job of keeping him in the back, but over here he was slightly too late on the siege up. Didn't remake much of the siege tank force either. They're just left over from the early mid game. And that puts ShoWTimE 1-0 up versus GuMiho. And for game number 2, we load into Site Delta for the grand finals of the Homestory Cup 25. Yeah, lauded as one of the better grand finals that we've seen in recent times. It's going to be a good one. Also, I forgot to mention in the first game that if you ask a Ligalac who's going to win between these 2 guys, Ligalac says that ShoWTimE has a slight advantage. And when you look at what their best matchups are, for both players, this is their worst matchup. ShoWTimE is worst against Terran, and GuMiho is worst against Protoss, compared to their other matchups. But ShoWTimE's ratios are a little bit better. He's just stomping on all of those European Terrans. And especially Zergs and other Protosses. Like, ShoWTimE has like 60-70% win rates on some of his matchups, whereas GuMiho's are like more flat. But if you look at their recent history, I looked at the 2 tournament times they played before this tournament, which was, I think, in Stars War 8. They met in the round of 8. They played a best of 5, and ShoWTimE lost 2-3 to GuMiho. And before that, they met at the ESL Winter 2023, and they played a best of 3, and GuMiho won 2-0. So even though Ligalac says that ShoWTimE should win, in the recent time when this game was played, still pretty recent, GuMiho actually got the better of ShoWTimE. So it's hard to say who is going to come out ahead. I mean, they're both in the finals. Obviously pretty good players and in good form, because you need to be a good player and in good form to make it to any finals. Or have, like, insane bracket luck, and the other guy just, you know, like, you need a lot of people to play bad before you get into the finals, basically. And again, GuMiho gets his factory, gets his CC, doesn't go for a CC on the low ground, did not go for a Reaper this time around. This Marine is very adventurous, actually. And let's see what ShoWTimE is chrono boosting out. He's getting an Adept, but also going for Twilight Console once again. Oh, this Marine going for the anti-timing Scout. Walks in, was probably hoping that the Adept would be passed. You see, this sometimes happens, where you time this out and most players will have their Adept Shade slightly further out. And that's a good player moment, right? Where you're like, oh, I wish my opponent wasn't so bad, because then he wouldn't have seen that. That just happens. And the point is that it's still worth the risk. That Marine can see so much valuable things that it needs to be worth it, and I think GuMiho is deeming it to be worthy. He's going for the Cyclone and Marines. We did see him do this drop a couple times. He even did a Marine siege tank drop once, which in the other Homestory Cup games that we casted, which was really weird on Alcyone, between him and Gerald, of course, all their games where they just didn't care about their mineral lines. They were just like, you're gonna kill my production line or my mineral lines, I don't care, I'm just gonna murder yours. And so we just had huge worker slaughters, genocides even, in every game. Which, you'll see it in the thumbnail if you go back for GuMiho versus Gerald. And we see a Raven here coming out from GuMiho. A drop is going across the map. Now, before this hits the base of ShoWTimE, be sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more StarCraft videos coming out. We're going to do a couple Dota videos in the coming weeks because of TI, so if you don't like that, bear with me. There's going to be more StarCraft. I'm not going to stop doing StarCraft probably ever, unless like the servers go down and there's no more tournaments. The drop did manage to drop in the main, but just got pushed away by 2 gate stalker count. Only 2 gates for ShoWTimE, straight into a third base. So we see a nice little shake-up here from ShoWTimE, and is now moving out with these stalkers that if they find value, it feels very bad as the Terran. If you have any suggestions, by the way, on games you want to see, StarCraft games, this is a great time to do some suggestions, because there hasn't been a tournament recently that I want to cover. So, we're gonna go back for, like, Homestory Cup group stage games that we missed? Perhaps? Or maybe even further back to Katowice? But those are just old games, and, you know, I was hoping to get the ESL Cup, but it's kind of on hiatus. Like, we don't know if there's going to be a restart on that. Like, I was recently informed that they're still in conversation, so nothing's happening right now. And which makes me a little bit like, huh, I want StarCraft. I need StarCraft games to cover. Where am I gonna get those replays, you know? Like, it starts itching everywhere. Guys, you got any more of those replays? And the double siege tank count for GuMiho is running up. Double tech lab, double marauder. Let's take into the plates. Unbuildable rocks. +1 is coming out, so this can be a pretty nice timing for GuMiho. Is he going to build his third base on location again? And did... Oh! ShoWTimE finds that drop in the middle of the map, gets the blink, snipes that medevac. And, I mean, this drop, if it gets over here, just can exert continuous pressure, but instead, ShoWTimE just gets to probe up to 3 bases behind 2 gateway stalker pressure. Dude, ShoWTimE is living the life right now, going straight into Colossi, getting a forge, and has a high gateway count to boot. 8 gateways about to finish, and GuMiho's in the middle of the map. This is kind of cool, where ShoWTimE needs to decide, am I being attacked or not? Because I just saw the units move. And is there going to be a third base? I don't see it, but the boys have also not been pulled. So, like, either way, this is super committed. And there we go. A third base goes down right away. GuMiho decides not to attack at all. Even scans ahead and sees, like, okay, ShoWTimE just warped in a bunch of zealots. So at least he respected my attack a little bit. Didn't just make a 4th base and more gateways, right? But does go up to a 2nd forge. Wouldn't be surprised to see a 4th go down right away. You know, more gateways. Maybe even go for, like, a cannon shield battery in the main to help you defend even more. You can also just put 2 pylons. Like, this is going to be that Protoss mid-game that everybody loves, or at least every Protoss player loves. Super comfortable. And GuMiho just, I don't know if he's comfortable with this, but he's, like, on 2 base versus a 3 base going 4 base ShoWTimE. And I feel like ShoWTimE is just kind of outplaying him in this second game. ShoWTimE is just getting all the good things. You know, he sniped the drop. He got a third base for free, basically, with only 2 gates of stalkers, and his stalkers got so much pressure done And GuMiho invests in so much gas units early that I think GuMiho thrives when you try to do a lot of damage to him, because he has all the answers. You know, he has the Swiss Army knife. He has the tanks, he has the Raven, he has the Cyclone. He can deal with your Oracle, he can deal with your early War Prism, he can deal with your early Blink Pressure. And ShoWTimE putting down the literal wall of pylons. It's kind of like the beacons in Lord of the Rings, where, like, you know, Sauron is moving out, and so they just light the beacons. It's like, nope, we need to tell the boys back home. Or I guess it was Sauron that was moving out for the beacons. Because of course the beacons are lit at Minas Tirith. Not at Helm's Deep. I guess I've got the Lord of the Rings bug, right? Like, Rings of Power recently released the second season. I've personally been enjoying it, but, you know, it's not amazing. Some people are really vocal about how much they hate it. I mean, I'm just enjoying the more Lord of the Rings. Like, it's better than The Hobbit, which wasn't that hard. But, just don't expect too much and just enjoy it. But, GuMiho. Maybe not comfortable, but he is in this game. He's turtling up. He's getting a 4th base. And let's see if he's going to go for Ghosts or for Libs to really turtle up further. He's going for a Ghost Academy and a 2nd factory here. So what is that going to do? Is that going to do more siege tanks, which would be an interesting take? Could go for Widow Mines as well. War Prism speed even on the map. More gateways coming out. 9 gateways in production and more coming. He has 12 already. Okay? 11 more. He has 23 gateways when they all complete. Another robo underway. That's 3 robos for Mr. ShoWTimE over here. And he's taking it very literally. It is ShoWTimE. It's my show. And it's time you get slowly but surely Cobra, like, constricted out of this map. Because, I mean, just look at his vision. Like, he just sees everything. He sees no 4th. He sees no 4th. That means he doesn't have to do anything. I don't even know what happened here. Probably, like, a Widow Mine or something. Maybe it was the... It could be that the War Prism got recalled back, and then when the Viking shoots, like, the alert goes to the place where the War Prism is. But ShoWTimE, he's banking money. He has an unlimited supply of gateways. 23 on the map, 26 to be. He's about to get 2-2. He can replenish his army in seconds. And he's ready to crack the shell of GuMiho. Still on 3 bases, mind you. He has 4 orbitals, but he needs a dub. But he is maxed out, so if he gets a really good fight, that's the only way for GuMiho back into this game. Take a super efficient fight, and then counterattack. 9 SCVs go down. I don't even know if you want to replace those. 3 more barracks underway. And we do have the double siege tank production, even +1 vehicle upgrades. So GuMiho's idea is to just get a lot of siege tanks, 5 siege tanks on the map, and just blast this Protoss army when it tries to move into these choked areas. Now, can he protect his field center? Oh, the Zealots, they run in, but they get blasted before they really get on top of the bio. 1 sensor tower does get taken down, some guaranteed damage for the Disruptors. And the 4th base now going to float down to a 4th base location. This Zealot is going to see it right away. Big Dorito Cannon goes down onto the army of the Protoss, giving it -3 armor on every unit. Oh my god, the scan sees all of these Disruptors, but the bio is not in position to pounce. And the PF is going to start up here. +2 for the tanks is coming up. He's just playing straight up bio tank. And, like, I guess that you could call this bio mech. We see Cloak for the Ghost coming out as well. And a pretty good arc for GuMiho, but the Colossus in the backs, they stand tall, they stand proud. More Vikings do come in, and the first Colossus is down. The second one is going to get shut down as well. And a lot of Zealots were warped in. Oh, the second wave The Horde is here. The zombies are ready to take you down. Oh my god, unsieged tanks F2'd into the fray. The Vikings land, take down a lot of these stalkers. Oh my god, the disruptors convinced the army to run away, and these disruptors now live instead of dying. I think if GuMiho stims forward, loses like a couple bio units, he cleans everything up. And ShoWTimE behind this, just remaxing 3 disruptor balls at a time. And still, we do see a 4th base for GuMiho, so he's fighting his way back into this series. But my god, is this a super comfortable position for ShoWTimE. 26 gateways is apparently the number. We don't see any Stargate or Stargate upgrades, which I think is a little surprising. I don't know if you ask ShoWTimE if he would do anything different. He does have a bank. He could invest into some air, but I guess he's investing into more units in 3-3. That's also pretty expensive. And he does throw a bunch of money into killing this PF. The army not quite in position. And takes down this very important base for GuMiho. He needs this base to even have a right to be in this game. The Bio Army does find 3 juicy disruptors. Feels bad, but can instantly be remade even faster. Siege and Unsiege coming out for GuMiho here. Transformation Salvos upgrade, or Smart Servos. It had a different name in my head. Cannons at the outer bases for ShoWTimE, and here he comes again, maxed out once again. No PF in the back this time. Not a lot of tanks on the ridge, and the bio just gets overwhelmed. ShoWTimE takes game number 2 and takes a commanding lead in this best of 7. Did start a DT shrine behind that to try and start sniping PFs, but I mean, ShoWTimE is just Mr. Moneybags, just throwing units at the Terran, and this time around he could not quite survive. I don't know what you do. Do you just build like 3-4 bunkers? Just like bunkers in a line, and the zealots just can't do anything? Like, I guess enough disruptor balls can kill those bunkers. So I guess you do have to space them out a little bit. Maybe with like bunker, supply depot bunker, or like bunker, engineering bay bunker. Maybe just bunker next to orbital. Like, I think some amount of bunkers could help. I think if you do the bunker health armor upgrade, if that gives the bunker a substantial amount of health, it might actually be worth it to make like a couple bunkers here. Like, I mean, you're like 99% dead anyways, but if you get like 4 siege tanks over here, like a bunker over there, 2 bunkers over here, maybe. With the PF, maybe. But, and maybe it's not enough for GuMiho. He's down 0-2 to ShoWTimE. Moved into game number 3 is on Dynasty. And I think this is a pretty nice shakeup for GuMiho here, because the first 2 games were on pretty standard maps, being Site Delta and GuMiho. Site Delta and Oceanborn. And nowadays we have 9 maps. Somebody thought that was cool. So even in this best of 7, we are not going to see all of the maps. And Dynasty is one of those maps that probably gets vetoed in a lot of even best of 7s, because it's kind of a weird map. With that gold in your back pocket, does have a pretty nice natural, but then what do you take as a 3rd base? It's a little further away. And it's just so non-standard that when do you practice this map, you know? But we're going to see it here in game number 3, and this gives GuMiho an opportunity to kind of shake things up. Doesn't have to play another macro game versus ShoWTimE that, like, the first game looked like GuMiho was playing that game. Game number 2, like, ShoWTimE just got into a commanding position pretty early, and he just rode out that wave to victory. And I thought GuMiho showed a pretty cool style to try and stick in that game. To build a bunch of siege tanks, get the upgrade for siege tanks, and take your 4th base. As I said, maybe the bunkers were the answer, but probably he just should have played a better early to mid game and got himself into a better position. You know, 2-gate blink gets a free 3rd base and kills your first drop for basically nothing. Yikes. Like, ShoWTimE was cutting corners and basically still getting rewarded for being active on the map. Now, Reaper's on the move, Adept is being chrono boosted out, and soon ShoWTimE will have the gas to start up one of his tech structures. We do see GuMiho getting that back base, getting that gold, where ShoWTimE is going for a more normal natural, I would say. The Adept is ready to receive the Reaper. Hello? The Reaper does not get into the main base. Another Twilight Console build. I mean, if it ain't broke. ShoWTimE's been showing this opening versus GuMiho in every game so far. And I mean, he's 2 for 2. So we can't blame him at all. Starport's coming out, Cyclone's coming out, a couple of Marines, and, well, these lines pretty much tell us that it's probably going to be a Marine drop with the Cyclone, and maybe this Reaper is still alive to help out as well. So, GuMiho wants to move out early with a couple of units. Let's see how many gateways ShoWTimE commits. Does go for an earlier shield battery than he did in the previous 2 games. And we see a tech lab coming up on the factory. SCV's moving out already to grab these golden minerals and provide his commander with additional income. Third gate is underway. For ShoWTimE, he's building an island here. It gets found immediately. Good job by GuMiho making sure that this back mineral line can't be pressured that easily by ShoWTimE. He's probably beating himself over the head that he did build it slightly further back, but doesn't mean that it wouldn't have gotten found. This medevac is boosting into the gold base location. There is 2 stalkers here already. And in the front, we see 1 Cyclone, 1 Reaper trying to find anything, but ShoWTimE just has enough units on both sides. A Robo's coming up, a 4th gateway as well. So ShoWTimE is pretty safe. Cloak Banshee coming out of GuMiho here. When Hero Marine did it, it was pretty gosh darn effective. These Banshees, like, it feels like you're back in Wings of Liberty, but those Banshees still pack a punch, and if you have 2 of them, no shield battery can stop you from just one-shotting probes. And the Cloak, of course, is pretty good against these Twilight console openers, especially if they don't go Observer. Especially if you're ShoWTimE, you want to be aggressive here, because you know this guy has the gold. You know, it doesn't have anything at the natural. It would be kind of funny if GuMiho's just one-basing here, or like mining his gold or some outer base all this time. But no such mind games right now. A couple Stalkers moving out. The War Prism in tow. The Adept moving forward, and now the Observer is coming out. The Cyclone, I don't know what he's looking for. The Cloaked Banshee starts cloaked right away. It's very hard for ShoWTimE to know that it's here. This Banshee flies into that army and almost gets sniped right away. The Blink Stalkers get on top of the siege tanks. They do blink into a bunch of Marines. Do not have stim though. So a bunch of SCVs go down, the tank goes down, and the Banshee in the main actually clicking the shield battery, because 1 Banshee's not enough, does not go to the natural, where there's also a shield battery, and this Banshee actually takes down a Stalker. This Banshee takes down a shield battery. Oh my god, these Banshees not getting a whole lot done. ShoWTimE defended the Banshees pretty well. He's not taking a 3rd base, a little bit uncharacteristic compared to the previous games. Making a lot of Stalkers here, and of course you have a lot of room to maneuver around if your opponent takes this back base. And with the high ground vision from this Observers, taking down the supply depots now. GuMiho is on 3 racks, so he does have a good amount of bio. He has 1 Stalker in the back, or 1 siege tank in the back. And once these gateway units try to go up this choked up mini ramp, the bio will hold the ground. This medevac has its work cut out for her. Has to heal a lot of units. And GuMiho does not have stim just yet to break out. The 3rd base now is being created by ShoWTimE. Still ignoring the gold here, going for a different 3rd base location on the low ground. This Banshee finds a couple kills on the buildings, can target down like a probe, and double medevac drop just boosts across the map. We do see the War Prism here in the main. 4 Stalkers and chaos will ensue. The War Prism is stuck there. I don't know if we have recall on the map. Do we have it? We do have it. Another Banshee in the back with Cloak. And the Stalkers are back. And now an attack in the front. Both, or only one Banshee still remaining on the map. The third base is getting cancelled. The Stalkers in the natural and in the main just taking down SCVs everywhere. The Banshee did get taken down, but 10 probes did go down. The third base still under fire. And ShoWTimE's aggression has been cleaned up by GuMiho. +1. Only 10 seconds away. And the gold base for GuMiho is being defended. The main base is being defended. And the third base for ShoWTimE was taken down. We do see the first Colossus on the map. Range is coming up. Shields, no charge. It's coming out as well, but no third base for ShoWTimE. And this is the first time that we see ShoWTimE struggling to have a third base. He is taking out a lot of workers. Only 33 workers for GuMiho, but they are on the golden minerals. So GuMiho's income is still pretty good. He's also doing pretty nicely on those power units. He has 3 tanks and 4 medevacs, so doesn't need to spend a whole lot of money on those. He can just pump more bio. Oh, as soon as these minerals mine out, he can run out, but... Oh my god. The quadruple drop from GuMiho coming out, and then he decides against it. Some of his Marines are just forfeit on the low ground. One medevac does get sniped. A couple units were stuck in there. ShoWTimE, dude, he's being so aggressive. He's taken this map. And GuMiho, what can he do? Like, him getting that third base and getting all that probe damage with the Banshees, what a godsend. Super strong counter-aggression from GuMiho. 8 gates on the map with only 1 Robo and 2 Nexi. Now finally the third base halfway done once again. And ShoWTimE, I wouldn't even hate him building like another Nexus. Like, you kind of don't want to spread yourself that thin. But also, if this gets cancelled, you just don't have any income ever. So you have to commit to defend this if it gets attacked. Now we do see shield battery going down for that. Because it is a point where your opponent can kind of force you into a bad position to fight, into a choke, into kind of an all-in fight. Where if the Terran is just set up better, you're not going to be happy. Oh my god, 2 siege tanks on both sides. The Viking count is starting to grow. This War Prism almost gets shut down. 5 health remaining. And ShoWTimE now finally gets his third, immediately oversaturates it because his probe line from the main was already halfway mined out. No upgrades for ShoWTimE, actually. Only just getting +1, so he was actually quite committed to do a lot of damage here. Look at that, these minerals are gone, and suddenly GuMiho is out on the map, and ShoWTimE doesn't know this. He doesn't know. Now he sees that, oh my god, the army's over there. He's moving back. He's not moving up the ramp to kill GuMiho's main base or anything. He's just recalling back to the naturals, deciding to stand his ground and fight. And the first disruptor did throw his shot. Gets saved by the shield battery, stays alive. And can GuMiho win this game? Oh my god, SCVs were pulled as well. And ShoWTimE throws in all of his zealots to tank. The Stalkers blink forward, target down the siege tanks very well. The Colossi try to deal with the bio here, but there's just too much bio. A lot of Marauders and enough medevacs to heal up. Only 1 disruptor remaining. Did just get shut down at the third base, and GuMiho looks to be shutting down ShoWTimE here in game number 3. Killed the entire army, and the siege tanks and the bio just too much to handle for ShoWTimE here in game number 2. The naturals forfeit, but ShoWTimE, he's sticking in here. He knows that my opponent has barely any income. And the blink in comes in, walks in with the Colossus, sees the 3 siege tanks already sieged up. And ShoWTimE calls the G to the G, and GuMiho, wow, dude, he sneaks out of the back there, out of the back door, gets halfway across the map before ShoWTimE even notices, and then panic recalls back to the natural, decides to take this fight instead of delay it any longer. And GuMiho just got a glorious fight there with his +1, with a lot of siege tanks, enough bio, even SCVs to tank. And ShoWTimE was over here. Like, I don't know. Do you move up into the main, just kill all the buildings, and then recall to like your third or your main even? I don't know. That's a hard call. I don't know if you want to go into a base race in a game where you think you're winning. And I think if you're ShoWTimE, you felt like you were winning. You had way more income. You killed a lot of probes. But that third base dying. GuMiho had a big army and he's on the board. And GuMiho taking game number 3 on Dynasty, giving himself a little bit of momentum. And now the test is if he can actually translate that momentum of the win into a map win on another standard map. Because ShoWTimE kind of clapped his cheeks on Oceanborn and especially on Site Delta. Now Alcyone, considered more of a standard map than Dynasty especially. And even on Dynasty, I feel like GuMiho kind of just got a gotcha on ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE slightly panicked, took a fight slightly not in favor of his position, and uncharacteristically lost a third base. Double gas revealed to ShoWTimE here. And a Reaper's underway. We're going to see that factory before the CC. And ShoWTimE knows what he can expect from builds like this. Even just hanging out with the probe, sees the factory going down. Of course, you don't have to put the factory over here, because the Protoss already knows you have high gas count. You're not going to make 2 refineries and then stop mining gas to get an early CC. That's a bit of waste. I guess you could do it, but then you're just doing a pretty bad build. Oh, goes for double Reaper here. GuMiho. What's the plan here, buddy? No proxy racks in this series so far. I'm kind of hoping to see at least one proxy Marauder build out of GuMiho, because I just think they're fun. And what type of tech structure are we seeing? I wouldn't be too surprised to see another Twilight console. If I look at the gas, it's another Twilight console 4 times in a row. GuMiho faces the Blink Stalker threat of ShoWTimE, and ShoWTimE has shown a lot of flexibility with that build. First game goes for 3 gates, second game goes for 2 gates, third game goes for 4 gates without upgrades. Into an 8 gate, goes into super aggressive mode with that Blink Stalker opener. Whereas in the other games, he went for 1 forge and even 2 forges in the second game. So let's see what happens here. One Reaper shows himself into the natural, the other Reaper's chilling at the third. So GuMiho has the scouting information. Actually didn't see the Twilight. I am a little bit surprised. Has 2 Reapers still, didn't find it. 1 Cyclone chewing? Yeah, just kind of chucking across the map like, my budget stalker. Gonna get there. And siege tanks coming out. Starport being produced as well for GuMiho. And again, we see he likes to build those factory units, a couple starport units. Not really focused on getting those barracks super early. Cyclone does get a couple kills. If there was a Reaper wall, this might have been punished a little bit by GuMiho. But there was none. Robo in the front with a gateway. We see the triple gate coming out of ShoWTimE once again. This looks very similar to what he did on Dynasty as well. And what is GuMiho thinking about? He has 1 tank, second tank coming out, medevac coming out. We have the Cyclone, so Cyclone for Marine drop could be on the horizon. But we did see a medevac with 1 siege tank drop on Alcyone versus Gerald. And it looked a little dummy, but double siege tank on the medevac, and it's just going to be a push. Do we have any upgrades for the Marines? No, we do not. No combat shields, no stim, no concussive Marauders as well. It's just pure bio with some tanks, and GuMiho actually sees the Stalkers moving across the map. Boom, boom, double shot from the siege tanks. Hit that 1 Stalker in the front. Almost dead, only 9 health remaining. And GuMiho takes position to perhaps build a third base on location once again. The barracks are being added on before anything like that happens. The starport lands. Second... Oh, a tech lab finally for a barracks. So the stim is going to be super late in this game. Stim starting at 5 minutes. And no third base in sight. No medevacs, no libs. Just a chilling starport. He just wants as much bio/tank as he can afford. And he does have 3 tanks already. This Cyclone. Interesting addition to the army. But these Blink Stalkers are just keeping GuMiho at bay. Oh my god, the unsieged tanks. They do fire pretty quickly. One Stalker does go down. Behind this, we do see an Immortal finishing up. We saw the Robotic Support Bay finish up, and the third base is underway. We have a shield battery and 3 tanks. Now, we saw from a Hero Marine that tanks can get some nasty positions on Alcyone. And let's see if GuMiho knows a couple of those nasty positions as well. 2 Immortals were built from the Robo, so ShoWTimE is respecting an attack here. No third base as of yet. That SCV is sitting there, but not doing all that much. The Observer gets spotted. We see another tank join the force, another one in production. 4 tanks. And GuMiho is just slowly but surely leapfrogging his way into his opponent. The unsiege happens, and immediately the pounce from ShoWTimE, but just a little bit too much bio for him to really pounce on top of the siege tanks. You kind of want to find the siege tanks when they're trying to move ahead of the army and get a nasty position. Now, this Observer is doing a lot of good work for the Protoss army, and immediately, ShoWTimE again, using that vision, that knowledge. Oh, the siege, or the sentry does get taken down by GuMiho. Behind it did start a third base, did start +1, now starts double medevac production. Stim is done, but now we get combat shields as well. More barracks being added on, and GuMiho investing in a pretty strong early game army. Now transitioning into a third base. And, I mean, how are you going to attack a Terran that just is okay with sitting on 5 siege tanks? Like, if you walk up up a ramp or into an area without having perfect vision, suddenly, like, your stalkers and stuff just get one shot. It's just like a free donation of units. And a singular drop here from GuMiho. Stims on in, thinks they can do something, but they cannot. +1 not quite done, and I mean, these Marines and the medevac just didn't do anything. And behind it, GuMiho also didn't really move his army. So just a singular poke from GuMiho. And ShoWTimE could just easily respond with his whole army. And there wasn't like a Liberator getting into the natural. There wasn't like a siege tanks and a push here. But GuMiho wanted to get his third base up. Because if you don't know where your opponent's army is, suddenly, if you walk into, with this army, if you walk into this army in the middle of the map, it can be pretty nasty. Because if you're not sieged up, like, and there's just a few more charge zealots than you expect, oh my god, or if the Colossus just get a couple free swipes, oh my god, not a lot of these minerals have been mined out, and this is a pretty nasty siege tank position. A couple of them are in a conservative position, but if you can get your siege tanks in range of this choke, is so annoying. Any unit that wants to come down just gets shelled, and the zombie run by gets on top of a bunch of bio and siege tanks. Good decision by GuMiho to bunch up his reinforcements, and now ShoWTimE goes for the break, tries to take down these siege tanks. Nice targeted fire with the Immortals on top of the siege tanks. The Colossus stay alive, and GuMiho actually just calls the GG straight up. The Zealots in the natural and the push at the front did not do what he wanted to accomplish. And ShoWTimE, by almost just defending all game long, beats GuMiho in another standard map. And that means that GuMiho now needs to win 4 games in a row. Mind you, 4 games in a row. 2 or 3, it's 3 games in a row, I'm sorry. 3 games in a row to take this best of, wow, it's a best of 7. And ShoWTimE is on match point. He can throw out some wild cheeses. And for game number 4, we move into Crimson Court as our arena of battle. And GuMiho It's looking at a pretty tall wall that needs to be scaled. Kind of like Attack on Titan type wall. Because ShoWTimE is up 3-1 in this best of 7. He's on match point, and GuMiho has to win 3 straight to bring it back. Another less than standard map, so I guess GuMiho needs a lot of those. Like, we need some post-youth after this. And let's see what both players bring out. Like, at this point, I would not be surprised if ShoWTimE just goes into another Twilight console build. Like, it's just been working out so well for him. GuMiho going for the double gas. And probably going to see another factory before CC. ShoWTimE going for the Nexus before core. But it's been pretty rough for GuMiho. I feel like ShoWTimE's wins have been super convincing, and the one game that GuMiho won on Dynasty kind of felt like ShoWTimE could have won as well. I mean, that's a 4-0 in my book, but still need to squeak that last one out. And how are you gonna do that? Factory gets planted out of vision there. The gases were not revealed, so there could be a CC here. ShoWTimE quite literally in the dark as to what GuMiho is doing, but is he really gonna shake it up on this map? Is he gonna, like, do something completely out there when he is about to lose the tournament, about to lose the grand finals if he loses one map? Now, this is a bit of a weird map, pretty hard to proxy anything. Twilight Console gets scouted right away. GuMiho knows it as early as possible. Does he have a build that can punish this? That would be interesting. But, like, proxy racks on your side of the map, it could happen, but there's only 2 paths on a Crimson Court, as we've seen every time. And I mention it, I think, every time we see this map. Shoot battery goes down. So ShoWTimE is respecting that. The possibility of there being more barracks behind that closed wall. Stalker getting rid of that Reaper. Let's see what ShoWTimE decides to do when it is time to get a third. Does he take this bottom base, take down the gold minerals? Maybe he takes this triangle base to defend himself against any, like, siege tank, into shut down this ramp. Even just siege tanks behind this mineral line is annoying. Now the blink is underway. How many gateways are we gonna see from ShoWTimE? And what is GuMiho gonna do here? The 2 Reapers come up the ramp once again, same as we saw, I think, on Alcyone. Just seeing if there's like a pylon or a free unit for the Cyclone to pick off with the vision provided by the Reapers. And now we see Widowmine coming out. 1 Widowmine with some Marines. And you only need 1 ungodly Widowmine hit to turn a game in your favor as the Terran player. You can just kill 8 probes with a Widowmine and, well, that's suddenly a very rough game for the Protoss player. 3rd gate and a Robo being added on here for ShoWTimE. A Liberator is underway together with the double Widowmine drop, so he did make a second one, which probably like hidden behind a building or something. And GuMiho poking at the front here. This looks very similar to a game we've seen before. And ShoWTimE, his spidey senses are tingling. It's like, I need some vision over there. The Widowmines, they get flown into the mineral line of ShoWTimE, and the Widowmine does burrow. Does not retarget, so only 1 probe does go down. Another Widowmine does burrow in the main base. The medevac does go down, and oh, the reburrow does occur. Widowmine is going to get 1 probe. And that is all that GuMiho's going to get. What is he doing behind it? He's getting an engineering base, getting a siege tank count up once again, getting more barracks before thinking about a 3rd base. Has 3 gases for taking his 3rd. ShoWTimE is not really taking any damage there. Only 2 probes. He's getting a 3rd base. He's getting that robotics bay for the Colossi and the Forge. I mean, this just looks looks very similar to the previous games, getting that Immortal once again. This is a pretty crucial location. Both ramps are very crucial for ShoWTimE to take care of. And an observer here is going to take care of a lot of the army movements that GuMiho could bring to the table. No third base as of yet for GuMiho. We do see the reactor coming up. And the 3 racks are just pumping out the bio. We're getting that stim upgrade. I'm probably going to see combat shields as well. Third base for ShoWTimE almost completed. Charge is coming up. +1 is coming up. More gateways. And, I mean, GuMiho, he has a pretty nice standing army here, but all of these upgrades are pretty far from completing. And this observer does see the move out. This observer is going to confirm the move out. And ShoWTimE can get ready. Even a shield battery, bunch of sentries warped in, could even get the triple force field. And ShoWTimE very eager to meet this army before it gets in range of the third base. And ShoWTimE not revealing that he has vision over this army by moving it slightly forward and then engaging. But ShoWTimE just sitting back behind this, though. Gumi is building up. This seems to be way less committal than in the previous games. 2 observers actually getting shut down there by GuMiho. And the first couple medevacs do join the fray. What is GuMiho going to do? I would kind of just like all of the army to just sit here. But who does that? Double medevac drop with Marines going out onto the map. Both players, well, mostly GuMiho, completing a lot of upgrades here. So those Marines are going to pack a punch. They have +1 and they have stim. And the double drop is flying into 4 stalkers. They see it. And ShoWTimE also saw it. Both of these players watching that minimap like a hawk. Because apparently, ostensibly, hawks have that vision on lock. These hallucinated probes, once again, I kind of like it from ShoWTimE. The hallucinated probe gives you 4 probes, I think, for 75 energy, as opposed to 1 hallucinated phoenix. So if you just want to see the army moving out, this is great. Just using a little bit of that sentry energy. And now he's getting a second robo, because that is kind of the bottleneck that he's fixing with the sentry energy. Is that he doesn't have enough robo production time to remake those observers right now. He wants to get up to his 3 Colossi +1 War Prism count before reinvesting into observers. See a Ghost Academy, Armory, and +1 armor. No second engineering bay, unless I'm missing it. And GuMiho is just powering up on 3 bases, getting a 4th base as well. And ShoWTimE now expanding forward. And perhaps it's time to take down these rocks as well, mine out these minerals, and take a 5th shortly after this and really explode onto the map as Mr. ShoWTimE. I think he's called Tobias Sieber, the German Protoss player. And of course, he's playing on home turf here at the Homestory Cup. Little Ninja Prism ready to get into the main base. Wow, there's a turret and a Cyclone. I don't think a War Prism makes it in. War Prism speed only halfway done. This is War Prism speed, I'm pretty sure. Because you also have Observer speed, but I think it looks slightly differently. Like, let's put it this way. Gun to my head, this is War Prism speed. But I'm very good at making myself doubt. Double Disruptor is coming in. We already have 3 of them on the map. 2 more about to pop. Extra Forge coming in. And ShoWTimE again getting into that very comfortable position. He has the 8 gates online. Not adding any extra gates just yet, which is a slight difference from the last time we saw him play. This War Prism does drop off a couple Zealots, but GuMiho is just so defensively positioned. GuMiho is ShoWTiming ShoWTimE here. Just completely defensive setup. And a lot stronger than on Site Delta, because GuMiho just is about to get a 4th base. Has a very big standing army, over 100 army supply. And ShoWTimE is a little bit more constricted on this map than he was on Site Delta. Zealot run-bys can't really find an angle here that GuMiho isn't already defending. And that Warp Prism was actually the only thing that can really give you an extra angle. You need to, like, land it here and then warp in Zealots over there. Or, like, fly in over here, but then Marines from the back can run in. Now, ShoWTimE, he is kind of wary, or probably in the know, that this 4th base just landed. He is already getting a 5th base, so ShoWTimE probably not feeling too bad. But the game is gonna go long. Oh my god, look at that gateway explosion for our Protoss player here. 11 gateways being added on top of the 8 that are already here. He's maxed out, so he can invest in a lot of gateways and instantaneously remax. We have the double robo as well behind it. And let's see what ShoWTimE wants to do to try and crack open the shell of GuMiho here. This looks to be going to be a slow burn on a Crimson Court. As GuMiho takes his 4th base with a PF, gets the sensor towers. He has the ghosts already. He has a decent Viking count. And observer speed is now coming up as well. Cannons and the shield batteries coming up for the outer bases of ShoWTimE. Another base on the other side of the map also coming up. Now, interesting is that I think we saw Phoenix Colossus coming out of Hero Marine, or versus Hero Marine on this map specifically. But ShoWTimE deciding that he wants to go Twilight first against GuMiho every game. I mean, it worked great every game so far when it ain't broke. Oh my god, the Warp Prism does get sniped out of the air. Was just filled with charge slots. No storm drops as of yet. We don't have storm on the map. Look at how glacial GuMiho is playing this game. Absolutely slowing the game pace down to a crawl. Going for the double starport and a fusion core on top. So he's going for some liberators. He's getting +1 arrow. He's getting +3/+3. And behind this, I would love to see ShoWTimE do a similar thing. Get some Stargates, get like another Forge if you want it, get like air upgrades, get Storm, even if you're only going to warp in like a couple High Templar on the map. It's going to be so great. 5th base at the top, continuously getting shut down by just a bunch of Marauders here from GuMiho. Of course, there's a lot of air, space, and hard to cover space by ground because of all of these rocks. So without the Phoenix or a bunch of Stalkers everywhere, it's very hard to stop these drops from finding some value. And GuMiho, look at that. He is still that sleeping bear that if you poke it a little bit too much, he's just gonna crush your army. I do have a nice amount of disruptors here in the middle of the map. That is another point of tension, of course. You can see each other's bases. And wow, ShoWTimE actually trying to force his way up the ramp here. We did see a 3rd Robo and a Stargate finish up. And wow, the refinery is being targeted here. The rich gas geyser gets taken down a little bit. We do have a drop here in the main. The gateways are providing a little bit of Sim City if Zealots are in the mix as well. More gateway units being warped in as they die, because ShoWTimE is maxed out. And behind this, GuMiho takes a 5th. 30-minute 5th base. This is how I roll, bro. ShoWTimE now double expanding this base in the top left. I feel like it's been denied at least 3 times. Now we do get the lib range and 5 liberators on the way. Even a nuke for the ghosts. Oh yeah. 3-3 for the bio has been completed. The Protoss army is moving into the 5th base here, and this would be a nice snipe. Disruptor balls coming in, and GuMiho doesn't bite. He's just like, yeah, sure, I'll retreat as well. My 5th is alive, and nothing's gonna happen. More command centers being built. And actually, he's going to... I guess this is SimCity versus the Zealots. Ooh, the siege tanks get into position! And we have enough Vikings to deal with these Colossus. Oh, and we definitely have enough Liberators to deal with it. These golden minerals can be mined out. Would be nice. And look at that. The freedom zones have been established. And yes, GuMiho has got freedom. A couple disruptor balls come in. They kill a couple of SEVs. 1 Liberator gets taken down, but Stalkers do go down for that. Still, no Storm, no Tempest. And we do have 3 robos, so ShoWTimE definitely pretty comfortable with his 4K bank. How many gateways? 26 gateways. Again, 26 is the number, apparently. Look at that. Colossi from the back. They can hit these SCVs. Get some nice shots in, but GuMiho already on 55 workers here. And a lot of his workers will be supplanted or replaced by mules in the near future. Another orbital can be constructed. And I don't know if there's any in the main. No, just one at the third. Oh, the Zealots try to run in. A couple disruptor balls do hit a Marauder and stuff. But not any huge hits. 6 more libs underway. 4 already on the map. And as soon as those start getting shift-clicked into bases on the sides, oh my god, you're gonna hate your life as the Protoss player. You need to have a lot of cannons in position, or like a ball of stalkers on every side of the map. And still no Tempest to deal with these Vikings. But the Colossus do seem to be doing a good job. Actually, the PF does get taken down, and I think that's definitely worth it for ShoWTimE here. The CC just, you know, the new one just lands again. But it's pretty expensive for GuMiho, and he just doesn't really have the income. We see 3 arrows going up for ShoWTimE. He has unlimited minerals, basically. Goes for a blink in here. Doesn't think there's too much AoE, but that's a lot of libs. And the freedom is definitely working out for GuMiho. 9 Liberators. With +2 ship weapons. Do deal pretty well with a low amount of Stalkers. Now, lots of Gateway units still being morphed in. But we haven't seen a move into Archons. No Storm. So even though you have a lot of Gateway units, you're not opening up more tech paths. And the gas mining is surprisingly low for ShoWTimE as well. I don't know if Archons are any good here. Like, they can hit the Liberator. They do some AoE damage. But the EMPs on the Ghosts are just very good. Another PF gets clicked down by a lot of these charge slots. Is it going to take down the PF? And oh my god, the Disruptors make sure that it dies. But now all of the Disruptor balls have been used. So GuMiho goes for the pounce in, and one Disruptor does come to the side. All of these Liberators providing freedom in the middle, but no freedom on the left, no freedom on the right. And these Stalkers do get some pickoffs, but eventually get picked off themselves. All of the Colossus are down. These Disruptors have to run for their lives. And 2 Disruptor balls do go out, and suddenly ShoWTimE in a precarious situation. The recall comes out. The probes try to run for their lives. And they do listen to the, I don't know what the guy in Minas Tirith is called. Oh my god, the third base for ShoWTimE now gonna go down. Luckily he mined out most of it, and he's across the map with his army. See a little bit of a base race action. How many Disruptors are with the army? 7 of them. Oh, the libs fly into the army of ShoWTimE. The Stalkers get to kill 2 of them right away. And this orbital probably going to burn down there. This is a lot of Stalkers. 21 Stalkers. It's just mostly Gateway units here for ShoWTimE. But his bank has been spent. Does have all of these completed bases on the right side of the map. So he's definitely still in it. Even has this base that could... If you mine out a bunch here and over here, I think it's going to be pretty difficult for GuMiho to be more efficient than you, because if you split this map down the middle, it's these 2 bases that are kind of contested, or these 2 bases, where ShoWTimE has been mining out of all of them. Very good super late game and end game principles coming out here for ShoWTimE. How many Disruptors do we still have left? 6 of them. These Liberators have been killing ShoWTimE here. +3 for them coming out. Even a +1 ship plating. And +2 shields is done. +3 shields about to finish. And the Zealots try to find a little bit of damage. A little kerfuffle on the left. And wow, this middle base for ShoWTimE actually gets completely evacuated. A lot of Stalkers and Zealots are moving to the left side of the map. The freedom is just too much. 8 Liberators on the map. And we did see a Stargate somewhere. Am I crazy? Yeah, we did see it, but I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. It's just at the natural. But no, Tempest was built. The Stalkers and the Zealots run in. Actually, just too much bio. 140 army supply here. They do kill the PF once again. So GuMiho, slowly but surely, is just going to bleed out if this continues. Another recall here from ShoWTimE. And keeps most of his Stalkers alive. Goes to the other side of the map. I would love to see him just put more pressure on. But, like, GuMiho has 0 healthy bases. 0 of them. He has this base on the left. He needs to keep that alive. Oh, GuMiho probably not happy to see this base just up and mining for ShoWTimE. With the probe ready, this Marine is going to scout out that this base has not been retaken. And, I mean, ShoWTimE is just sitting on these gateway units. He's mining a lot of minerals, but it's not enough to get him to remax. And GuMiho's army is massive. 150 army supply versus 88 right now. And he's not stopping. Only 28 SCVs, couple mules to supplement. And if ShoWTimE gets caught out and has to take a full-on army versus army engagement, he is going to lose this game. But if ShoWTimE can just slowly but surely whittle away at the army of GuMiho, GuMiho will eventually lose because he just doesn't have the money to replenish any of these units, really. So this is probably the last maxed out army of GuMiho we're going to see. Although he does have this new base, so he actually found a leash on life. Only 2 arrows as of now. These Liberators, oh my god. Just 8 Liberators casually shutting down your base. And ShoWTimE just runs into your base, shuts down everything, goes for the base race, and GuMiho already has a massive army ready to base race. 150 supply, and both players just trying to take down all of the buildings. Oh my god, what is ShoWTimE gonna do? I think he just needs to go kill the bases. Last time he panic recalled to one of his bases. Where are the disruptors? The disruptors are all over here. Lots of probes out on the map as well. This orbital's down. This PF is gonna go down. And the disruptors are by their lonesome. Maybe he can get a couple good hits. Oh my god, the Marauders really clutch coming out. And no disruptors die there. Lots of SCVs going down. I think ShoWTimE just... if he can just bring his army back together, bring them back to the disruptors, he could probably even ditch like one more base. He doesn't have to fight here, but he is gonna move in with his Zealots and Stalkers. Lots of Zealots getting stuck behind him. Huge EMPs going down onto all of the Zealots, making them just evaporate in face of all of this bio. Lots of disruptors finally finding their way into the fight. They were being slowed down by the Marauders, and GuMiho lost a big chunk of his army. And I think if ShoWTimE just delays this game for as long as possible, he's just going to out efficiency GuMiho here. Any disruptor hit is just massive. GuMiho does not have any money. 0 money. No money. And so GuMiho, this army is his last army, and I think ShoWTimE is just going to slowly but surely, I've said slowly and surely a lot here, push him out of this game. Where does ShoWTimE want to make his last stand? Like on top of this high ground could be nice, but you have like bases to spare, honestly, if you just build another base on the other side of the map, or even down there. No storm once again, so the only like efficient unit is the disruptor here. GuMiho entering like kind of his end game stage. This is the biggest army he's ever gonna have. He's barely gonna be able to replace anything. Gets another nice chunk of the bio army, like 2-3 more engagements like that, and he wins this game. ShoWTimE very confident that he can kill this. Lots of move command and Zealots not doing anything, but I think it's enough. Oh, actually blows up a bunch of his own Zealots. GuMiho getting kind of an okay trade there. 70 army supply remaining. Lots of them is in medevacs. This super fast observer does get scanned out. No mules, no more. And ShoWTimE forcing his way up this ramp. You know what happens when you force your way up a ramp without vision? This medevac just kind of maneuvering around, trying to find more bases. ShoWTimE, where are your disruptors? 3 more on the map. A couple of them did get targeted down in the last fight, I guess. And there's no more robos. We do have this robotics bay. Would love to see a robo built over here or at the other base. Just get that disruptor count back up to, you know, 4, 5, like 6 or 7 feels like infinite disruptor balls. So that's what I want to see. A couple of these medevacs are pretty low on HP as well. Oh my god, look at all of these Liberators just attacking from the sides. We do not have that Stargate anymore. It was killed in the natural, so we need to have a new Stargate if you ever want to deal with these Libs. And ShoWTimE still has like 1.5 bases mining here, but his Stalkers just barely can't reach the Liberators. And these Libs really keeping GuMiho in it. Still no mining for GuMiho. Remember, he just hasn't mined for quite a while here. And the medevacs is doing such a good job of healing. Only 3 disruptors. No disruptor balls. All of the chaff in the zombie zealots has been just completely evaporated. GuMiho finds the other base, just kiting back so nicely. I think we have 1 more disruptor shot here. Yeah, we have 1. And the second one is halfway done with the cooldown. Long distance mining with the probe. ShoWTimE struggling for cash. And GuMiho still in the lead with the army supply. Oh, Stalkers. I don't know what do you target? Do you target the medevacs or do you target the units? If you can one-shot a unit, you probably want to one-shot just a unit. Because there's no more units. There's actually a Marauder in production. Can you believe it? There's 3 Marauders over here. GuMiho's just spending all of his money on a few extra Marauders. And we have 1 Ghost. 2 Liberators remaining, actually. Oh my lord, really? I don't know what happened to them. Oh no. Dude, well, what is this game? This game is so dumb. It's great. This Observer does find the army. Disruptor Ball comes out. GuMiho doesn't have anything else on the map to look at, so there's no way he's going to lose his army to a rogue Disruptor Ball. And GuMiho, you know, doesn't... It's an endgame principle, I would say. If you don't mine out your main, you have some minerals left remaining for the later stages of the game. In Dutch we say, wie wat bewaart, die heeft wat. So whoever saves up has something. It sounds more profound in Dutch, I promise. Oh, army supply is very equal. Couple zealots. I don't know what they were trying to do, but they get taken down by this massive GuMiho army. GuMiho slightly up in army supply now. Another... Like, these 2 Libs are still super annoying. Lots of probes going down this game. It's 200 zealots and 74 probes have gone down this game. 200 zealots. It's kind of crazy. And ShoWTimE is just making sure. Does he have another base? And, oh, actually, a Phoenix is underway. Where is that Stargate? The Stargate's over here. But where are the Libs? There's 1 Liberator over here, making sure that the long-distance mining... probes do die. There's only 1 Lib, so that's pretty expensive actually from ShoWTimE to go for a Phoenix there. But it has been a pain in his arse. Oh my god. The army of GuMiho does maneuver himself into the other mining base of ShoWTimE. Not a lot of minerals left. The Disruptors get into position, do not get a hit. It's been a while since they've gotten a good hit. But even just 1, 2, 3 Marauders, like 2 Marines, whatever, like anything is free. You are mining, he is not, and ShoWTimE has been mining, but he's also been trading inefficiently. He's still kind of stuck in that, like, gateway man mindset. And he's mining out the last 200 minerals in his main base. That little bit of mineral income that GuMiho can derive from that 1 base. And look at that. ShoWTimE actually mining a little bit too much gas, probably. Doesn't have a lot of probes. 11 probes to 3 SCVs, 29 minutes in. And I think both players kind of like playing an endgame style here. You're not going to remax. Every unit that you lose is huge. And units that have energy and cooldowns reign supreme because they can get unlimited value using those. Look at this medevac just making sure there's no new bases. Factories going out to check. And surely ShoWTimE must know that he is ahead here. He is mining. GuMiho is not. He can see the army consistently. Only 1 orbital remaining, 1 Liberator on the map. And this 1 Phoenix protecting this 1 base. Finally, his probes won't go down to Libs. Just one pack of bio. One more pack of bio. That's all you're dealing with. But still, the disruptor count is only at 3. He made a Stargate, but no extra disruptors. And it's kind of... I'm not feeling good about that. Oh, actually, there's a 4th disruptor. How in the world? Is there a robo? Did he just find it? What? There's no way. Oh, no, there's 3. I just got confused. Oh, nice snipe on the Liberator there. Like, I think ShoWTimE should have this in the bag. Oh, if he stands here, I guess this is annoying. Because the SimCity kind of works against you, but there's only one Liberator. That Observer does get sniped down, gets a scan, and gets the hell out of there. The Stalkers try to get some value, but if you don't kill a unit, it's just losing HP on your army. We have one shield battery here. We have a nuclear one available as well. A lot of shields went down to that. One goes with the EMPs. We have sentries. We have Guardian shields. 2 cannons here as well. And what is this going to be? We have Guardian shield going up. We still have the 3 disruptors. And as long as you just abuse those cooldowns, you can make this fight lose or last forever. A couple force fields go down. The bio in the front gets stuck. And a couple units do die. GuMiho is now down in supply. More sentries being warped in. Lots of gas available for those sentries by ShoWTimE. Another big EMP hits. These units are actually quite frail. The blink in. Oh, and another Marauder gets sniped. Disruptor gets one more. We have 3 disruptors on the map, but one of them gets targeted down. No, he does not get targeted down. Actually, the Phoenix comes into play. Nice lift there. Lifts up one of the Marauders. The Phoenix ignores the rest of the fight. And now, oh my god, the A move from ShoWTimE actually doesn't have a lot of gateway units left. No more shield zealots to shield. No. Do the probes need to come back off the line? 2 disruptors here. The Freedom Fields on top of them. And the nuclear battery comes up, but all of the units are almost dead. 2 disruptors, 1 sentry, 1 Phoenix. No extra gateway units. And actually, the Marauders just reign supreme. We have 11 Marauders on the map, and GuMiho takes out all of ShoWTimE's army, and the last base of ShoWTimE is dead. This is some soul-crushing stuff right here from GuMiho in a 32-minute game. Both players end-game mindset, and GuMiho just outgrinds, out-micros, controls his army so well. And ShoWTimE, I mean, that must be just a painful loss, soul-crushing loss, honestly. Because this was your game. Again, this is 5 games where I feel like ShoWTimE should win. Let's see if his mental can handle it, and if he bounces back in game number 6 of the Grand Finals, Homestory Cup 25. And we have an amazing finals on our hands here for the Homestory Cup 25 in this best of 7. GuMiho and ShoWTimE are going the distance as we move into game number 6 on Ghost River. GuMiho's been clawing it back, and he out-defended ShoWTimE. Demour the defensive Protoss. And he just grinded him out on Crimson Court. That game was like 30 plus minutes long. Just recommend it to your friends. It's great. You've probably all seen it, but it's wow. I'm glad that I got to cast it without remembering it. And again, double gas coming out for GuMiho. Now, if you gave me this map in game number 1, I would say this favors ShoWTimE 100%. This is a very defensive map where you can put on a lot of pressure with your units whilst being defensive. And you expand like away from your opponent. You expand down and away. And you have all these choked up areas, especially early when you are defending about your 3 to 4 bases. And then when you take like 2 high grounds, you are defending half the map. You can split this map so easily. There isn't an uneven amount of bases, so there's not like one base over here or over here to fight over. So you really have to like take one of your opponent's bases, otherwise you're both going to have an equal amount of cash in that game. And I mean, I forgot to look at the resources lost in mind for ShoWTimE last game, but I feel like GuMiho out-efficiency'd him by like 10k, which is crazy. Maybe it's like 7k, but like almost a base worth of money A base is like, I think 50, like 20k of resources, 25. So probably not like a full base, but that just goes to show that taking one base from your opponent and then just trading normally usually just still wins you the game, just by numbers. And of course that's a part of StarCraft 2. The maths. Sometimes you just have more stuff than your opponent. Now what is GuMiho thinking in this game number 6? Luckily for him, he's been winning the less than standard maps so far, and I would say that Ghost River probably qualifies as a less than standard map. And we see a Stargate coming out of ShoWTimE. He's mixing it up. He's like, I showed Twilight Console 5 times in a row, and you actually managed to beat me twice, even though I should have won. It felt like it. It looked like it. He had such nice, good positions with those Twilight Console openers, but now he wants to go for the Stargate. He's going to fire up a Phoenix. And let's see if he goes for like Phoenix Colossus El Clasico, or if he goes like for the 2-3 Phoenix style that he did versus Hero Marine on Site Delta, where he just makes sure that no drops come in, and then he goes into Gateway Man, and then into Robo. But we can see both of those things coming out of ShoWTimE, depending on what he likes. We see a good amount of siege tanks coming out here from GuMiho. Looks like a similar build he did on Alcyone with the 2 siege tanks and the medevac. And they're just gonna move out with that. Now in Alcyone, ShoWTimE was ready for it. He had 2 Immortals ready to defend. But now his Robo's only just starting. Does have a shield battery in the front. But if you have siege tanks like over here, we've seen it time and time again. It's very annoying to deal with. And GuMiho does have units. Oh my god, this is such an early attack. Just naked Marines, even sending out some SCVs. And oh no, oh no. ShoWTimE is putting his money into Phoenix. This is kind of a build order loss. And oh, look at the siege tanks. They get into position so fast. Because of that boost, the Phoenix try to make themselves useful, kill 1 or 2 Marines before all of the Marines come out. But, like, how do you stop this? How many gateways do we have? Only 1. The second one just finishing up. Another Phoenix is in production, and if you can kill all of the Marines here, eventually you might be able to hold if you are ShoWTimE. But the medevac is gonna get taken down. These SCVs get stuck behind the Viking. They can't repair, and it's only 4 Marines. A bunker's going down, and the buildings are doing a good job of tanking. That Robo did get taken down. It gets rebuilt in the main base. The shield battery gets repowered and instantaneously dies once again. Now it's 5 Phoenix. More Marines are running across the map. Another siege tank joins up, and these Phoenix are ready to deal with some of the reinforcements. So taking down a couple of the Marines, but they are low on energy. The Nexus gets taken down. ShoWTimE does not have the ground forces to really oppose this army from GuMiho right now. And the bunker to boot. Behind it, no third base. Just rallying in more units. Well, he stopped rallying because of the Phoenix that were clearing up all of these reinforcements. Actually gets 2 SCV kills there. And GuMiho is down in workers, but he does start a third base. Most of the probes did make it out alive. I think he probably recalled them from his natural to his main, and now the Phoenix are across the map. If you play 2v2s, you know this is super annoying. And 7 Phoenix becoming 8. And this is ShoWTimE's leash on life. These Phoenix need to stay in between the current army and the new reinforcing army. Ooh, this Phoenix can get shut down by 1 Viking volley. Boom. Unlucky. Phoenix on the wrong side of history, or wrong side of the formation. And 1 Viking does go down, but we do lose 2 Phoenix there. First 2 Phoenix that we did lose. And GuMiho reinforcing in big chunks of units instead of trickling them forward. And we do have 1 sentry here, but if siege tanks get a gnarly position, this Robo could go down for the second time. And we saw on Dynasty as well, if GuMiho starts killing your buildings, you have to remake them. Stuff goes south real fast. Robo goes down, Gateway goes down, and the Stargate probably goes down as well. Now, the Phoenix are finding value at the back here, but how do you push this army away from your main base? You do see a massive amount of probes for ShoWTimE here, but the third base is already done. Engineering Bay and Bunker being created, and the bust is happening now for ShoWTimE. This Immortal tries to take down the siege tanks. All of them get picked up, and the Immortals are down. The Zealots are on top of the army here. The siege tanks still get a couple volleys off before they are down, and ShoWTimE actually just calls the GG. Doesn't want to play that out, and that means that GuMiho has 3 games on the board. He was down 3-1, takes 2 wins in a row, and we go to the rubber match. We go to the final match of this best of 7 to decide the victor in 4-3 fashion. And you had to see it to believe it. An actual Protoss versus Terran finals, no Zerg included, that went to the distance. An exciting best of 7. ShoWTimE going up 3 games pretty early with dominant macro play, and GuMiho adapting throughout the series, using the same openers to more and more devastating effects. All of the standard maps have been ShoWTimE so far, and GuMiho has been winning on the slightly more out there maps. Speaking of out there maps, we are on Amphion for our game number 7. The Theater of War is happening, or this one has been elected. It's the final resting place of one of these players. Is going to go home with their hands in their hair or their head in their hands. A little tear here and there. But it's been a hard-fought best of 7. Let's see what ShoWTimE pulls out. Unlucky Bastard actually gets a super strong attack, like early attack, into him in game number 6 when he has not shown Stargate any of the previous games, not shown any Phoenix Colossus. In the one game he does it, there's a super fast attack that is very hard to hold when you don't have multiple gateways or a robo, or preferably just a Twilight console with at least 3 gateways. I think you just kind of hold that and then you slap it off, take a third base, and you're like, well, GG. It's going to be a nice game for me. GuMiho going for a single gas expand. So kind of playing off his image where he's like, usually I get the factory super fast. Still gets it in a reasonable time, but this CC is almost halfway done. Definitely a little different. This probe is looking around the map, looking for that proxy. Did mention it earlier in this series, probably like an hour ago, that I wanted to see at least one proxy marauder, because we did see GuMiho do it once. I kind of just wanted to see it again because it's fun, but does not go for the proxy. And I mean, ShoWTimE is respecting it, especially in this last game. He knows that GuMiho has pulled it out at least once. Oh, there is a little cheeky Reaper wall. We're back on the Twilight deck, that Twilight console build. It worked. It has put ShoWTimE in a good position every time he did it. And so he's going with that style for the last game of this series. One probe actually going down to the Reaper. Maybe some nerves coming out here of ShoWTimE. I mean, these players have been playing for almost like 2 hours, like 1.5 hours. And they've been playing all day. When this match started, I'm pretty sure it was midnight. It started at midnight. So now it's like 1:30 in the morning, and they're playing super high level intense StarCraft after having already played 6 games against each other. Oh, this Reaper tries to do the trick, but the shades were slightly misaligned, actually making sure that they always get that Reaper. Very cool. Cyclone's moving out, and a starport is being created again. Just Marines being pumped out, but he's hiding this second Rax a little bit. He's getting the stem, and this could be another decent push coming out for GuMiho. ShoWTimE, his Adept didn't have a shade out on the map. It's kind of like Ember Spirit for Dota. Like, if you don't have a shade or a spirit out on the map, a remnant, then they're gonna jump you and you will die. But if you do have a Shade or a Remnant out on the map, you just press the button or let the timer finish. And then, oh, you got off scot-free. Now this map is particularly annoying to defend. This wide open area, if there's like a siege tank over here or even over here, so annoying. We did see, I think, ShoWTimE himself build like a gateway and a robo on top of this high ground and attack. Here comes the medevac drops. This is not uncommon to see on Amphion, close by air. And I think it was Skirus that played this map, and he had Phoenix, and he just barely missed the medevacs. I'm not sure on that. I didn't do any research. This Cyclone does a little poke, making sure that ShoWTimE clicks there with his, his eyeballs go to the place he's being attacked. These medevacs try to get in, but ShoWTimE, the Iron Dome, is set up nicely here. The blink is ready, clicks on the medevac, and oh my god, that's half a medevac full of units, and these Marines are also going to get sacrificed. And this game is starting out really well for ShoWTimE. Almost every game he gets one of those medevac kills early. He just snowballs it to victory. Now GuMiho did start off a lot more economically focused this time around. He got his stim way earlier. So this is a different game. Getting his third base on location, not starting it after he sees that the attack is not going to work. No, he starts it right away before he even moves out on the map, and this is kind of a cool move. You can try this on the ladder as well. If you just set up slightly outside of your base, because sure, there's an observer here somewhere, right? And if you just move out and then you just stop, if ShoWTimE doesn't have vision of the place you stopped, he has to assume that you're moving across the map. Now, these Stalkers try to stop this push from going in, but we see Stim is done, +1 about to finish, Combat Shield's about to finish, and 2 siege tanks ready to set up on a nasty location. Third base about to finish. We have 1 Immortal on the way, 2nd on the way, but no Colossus yet to deal with these Marines. And these 2 siege tanks being very annoying. We do have a nice shield battery, 2nd one finishing up, and these Stalkers looking for some reinforcements. Very nice movement coming out of ShoWTimE here, punishing GuMiho for not being sieged up, and he gets a lot of kills on these Marines. Only 1 medevac, so this medevac can't heal up all of those Marines after they stim. Love that movement coming out of ShoWTimE, and now finally we do see the first Colossus underway. Colossus range is underway, more gateways underway as well. 5 already on the map, 3 more underway. And I want to see ShoWTimE making sure that no Doom Drop can enter his main base. Oh! Big shot onto the Stalkers, but the siege tanks do not manage to kill the Stalkers. I really like these siege tanks for Terran versus Protoss. Like, you really punish these move command-ins from the Stalkers. Do have this 1 drop moving across the map near a potential 4th base of ShoWTimE. Could get cancelled. If he just drops all of his units here, the Nexus starts and he instantly stims and kills it. Like, think back of Alcyone, where he also tried to do that, but there was an entire army waiting for him. This time around, gets the cancel with only 4 Marines. And again, GuMiho, he's just sitting back. He's got the siege tanks. He's making more barracks. All of them have tech labs. He's 2 barracks with reactors. Okay. He's not completely foregoing the Marines, but now ShoWTimE does go for the 4th base once again. And the base count is pretty equal for GuMiho this time around. He's ahead in supply. And that cancel actually feels kind of huge when I'm looking at it now. Every game that ShoWTimE won convincingly, he was up a base almost every time, because GuMiho would be so committed and aggressive and moving forward, building that 3rd base late on location, not making a 4th really early. But now his army is massive. 85 supply, more's coming out. How many Vikings are on the map? 0 Vikings, but 6 tanks. If these tanks find a position, ShoWTimE is not going to be happy fighting into that. Oh my god, that's a big Doom Drop. That's 6 medevacs filled up to the brim with units. This Zealot is going to see them. I don't know if he saw them. Oh yes, ShoWTimE, yes. He sees it. No Sucker Punch move here for GuMiho. And GuMiho has to tuck his tail in between his legs. You just have to respect the fact that there can be lots of shenanigans with this main base and even this natural base from the Terran player with a lot of bio and medevacs and even siege tanks to anchor. Fourth base for GuMiho now starts. There's a zealot in the back, making sure there's no cheeky business going on. No ninja basin. You know, he's playing enough Terrans that try to do that. Oh my god, these tanks sieging on up. And the Protoss player does not want to be in range of all of those siege tanks. Do not see +1 for the siege tanks, but how many do we have? 7 on the map. The factory wants to build an 8th siege tank. More bio coming out, and we even see a fusion core. Look at that. He is changing it up. No ghosts being added on into the map. He's going straight into the Liberators. He saw how magnificently they worked in game number 6. Or 5, sorry. The Crimson Court game. War Prism does get taken down on the left here. Vikings paying for themselves. Would like to have a couple Stalkers here, but they probably die if any bio just hangs around. Now ShoWTimE is maxed. Do we see another gateway explosion? 10 gateways, 4 more underway, another Nexus coming up, and ShoWTimE is playing it a lot slower than he did in the previous games. Kind of expecting GuMiho to attack into it. Wow. We see the medevac energy upgrade, upping that energy regeneration, and I think the healing rate is also increased, but I'm not quite sure. I don't think so. Well, we'll have to just look and see what it does. Warp some speed finishing up. PF is going down, and more CCs are being put down. Is Spirit playing this game? Because GuMiho is playing it slowly, and ShoWTimE is fed up with waiting. He crashes into the field center of GuMiho. Stops the CC from building, kills a couple buildings, kills a couple units, trades out his money from GuMiho, but I don't know if ShoWTimE is really up in money. Like, they've treated about equal, and his bank is just slightly more up. This gateway is gonna get found. It would have been a nice position to have a gateway. Oh.
Ready to blunder.
Balin does get found. 2 more CCs, and these rocks just making ShoWTimE's life hell. This choke with all of the siege tanks, super annoying to deal with. And ShoWTimE not one to transition into the Tempest early. 3 more CCs on their way, 2 more starports. It just feels like GuMiho is adapting very hard to what ShoWTimE is doing, and ShoWTimE is just doing a less economic version of the things that he was doing before. Does have 70 probes here. Oh my god. Oh, these tanks. Dude, this guy's 7 tanks. What the F? What do you do? Do you see all of ShoWTimE's bases on his side of the map now slowly being taken? This middle base, of course, playing an important role. And ShoWTimE moves in again, does pounce on this center field. For GuMiho, lots of bio dying, these Colossus getting their value. The Immortals trying to get on top of the siege tanks, but actually did not get on top of them. And no extra siege tanks actually died. This siege tank's 4 health. And they have a decent amount of kills, but they mostly just soften up the army so much. Especially if you combine that with the EMPs or just Liberators. Suddenly, units just start evaporating to the high DPS output of the bio army. And again, look at GuMiho with his ginormous army. Actually has a decently high SEV count. A couple charge lots get dropped into the main. This one siege tank also does not go down. Army in the main for ShoWTimE can't deal with this small entrance, isn't mining out these minerals with probes either, so how do you attack into this? You can't, so you have to attack into here. And it's just a double siege line deep. And it's very dangerous to delve that deep. I understand you want the gold, you want the mithril. You want that high value. And even some SCVs being pulled into the front just to start building missile turrets. They are actually pretty effective against Colossi. And they stop annoying observers from seeing all of your stuff. They also just tank damage. And look at this humongous army from GuMiho just moving out. He's like, oh, I don't care. I'll just make more bio at home. I have a lot of barracks right now. We have a good amount of barracks. 8 barracks. Well, it's not even that many. But oh my god, GuMiho. Just a little drive-by, but with bio. And he's cutting out a lot of the zealots. He kills the 5th base. But ShoWTimE is taking that hybrid base in the middle. So could start to chip away at that base. If he mines out this base and his own pocket base, I think ShoWTimE, he can win this game based on money. But the efficiency game, I feel like, has been really in GuMiho's favor here. ShoWTimE has lost, well, not that much more. Like 3k more minerals, hasn't lost a lot of gas. How many gateways do we have? 22 gateways. Shields are starting up. 3-3 is done. But the Liberator zones have been established. 3 of them are already online. We have Liberator range, and we have siege tanks galore. Dude, only 6 siege tanks, but it kind of feels like they're everywhere. Just 2 over here, 2 over here, 2 over here. I can even put one in the main. Like, how do you attack this base with a couple siege tanks on either side? You have to mine out these minerals, but ShoWTimE is not finding, like, the mental space for it. And also, it opens up a way for the Terran to attack you, which you might not prefer. GuMiho has a good read on where the army of ShoWTimE is, and he's boxing them back. And we do see a bunch of zombies trying to walk in, but GuMiho's like, nope. I'm ready to receive. Warpism could maybe go over there and warp in a bunch of those zomboids, but again, another mineral wall. Do you want to mine that out? Do you want to expend the mental resources to get probes over here and mine it out? The Warpism does get in the main. He does get a couple stalkers warped in, but he doesn't have more supply. Now has more supply freed up at the front. Wow. Big meat grinder action from GuMiho there. Destroying a lot of the units of ShoWTimE. And now this Warpism is getting a lot of value done. Like, he's getting a lot of these zombie zealots in the main base. And he's killing a bunch of buildings. And perhaps can trade out with the bio pretty well. But the main army not finding an avenue into the bases of GuMiho on the back of this. So this distraction, sure, you get a couple SCP kills. You kill a couple supply depots. You might burn down the armory. But in the end, I feel like this is not cost efficient for ShoWTimE. Doesn't have to be if he mines out this base mostly and takes this base. I think this one is very important for him to take. Oh, there's another hybrid base, actually. I mean, we play this game, or this base, so rarely that it just didn't quite register to me. So he has to take at least 2 more bases, ShoWTimE, to, like, get ahead in bases. Dude, Dynasty is so, or Amphion has so many bases. ShoWTimE gets chunked away again. These rocks are his enemy. Disembowler, loving it. And 2 Colossus here, getting some swipes onto the bio. Oh, big disruptor hits there. And one of them actually gets saved by the War Prism. And decent trades for ShoWTimE, but is he going to out-efficiency GuMiho in this game? 9 Liberators on the field, 6 more underway, +2 air is here. The Dark Templar Shrine is being built. I love that. The Stargate is online, but I don't see any Tempest just yet. Now, nice pylon over there, making sure that that base does not get sneakily taken. We have 15 Liberators, 3 more underway. How are you gonna deal with them? You don't have Storm, you don't have Tempest. Like, how do you hit these Liberators? I guess you can hope that you can chip away at them with the Stalkers, but GuMiho is feeling pretty rich. He's like 4k, 2k. And even though you are considerably outmining him, there should be more probes here. Holy moly. Oh my god. Oh my god. The Liberator Siege Tank combination. This is basically Biomech, dude. Lots of Liberator or orbitals on the map as well. How many do we have? We have 2 PFs and we have... Where is it? Hello? 7 orbitals. Okay. Not a crazy amount. And look at ShoWTimE's army count, or supplies, just way lower than GuMiho. GuMiho really taking advantage of the fact that mules don't cost supply. Only 50 workers remaining. He could even start sacrificing a couple more when his bases start mining out. And ShoWTimE finally did take this bottom base, but this base is gonna get taken down once again. No, like, big forest of cannons and shield batteries probably wouldn't have helped. We do have the fleet bacon and triple Stargate underway. Extra shield upgrades as well. We have +1 air. So ShoWTimE is moving into that Tempest transition. But GuMiho just gets into the natural. And he's just going to shave away all of the important tech structures that ShoWTimE is building here at the main. Oh boy, if only he had made his Stargates at the 5th. He could be making a lot of Tempest right now whilst destroying all of the outer bases of GuMiho and just out-efficiency him in the end. But just like Crimson Court, we see a massive amount of Liberators and just no way to deal with it for ShoWTimE. We don't have a Templar archive, so there's no Storm, and the Fleet Bacon is about to die. No Tempest in production anywhere. We do see an additional Dark Templar Shrine being created here. And ShoWTimE is trying to rebuild in the middle right side of the map. GuMiho actually has a command center over there. Now look at the army count. GuMiho, 170 supply in army, only 10 SCVs. Like a straight up fight. ShoWTimE versus the entire army of GuMiho is going to be very painful, especially if ShoWTimE is running into all of these freedom zones. And this is a little reminiscent of Crimson Court, where again GuMiho is just not really mining, versus ShoWTimE that has 2 disruptors this time around, so it's even less than last time around. And this is so many Liberatoren, 17 freedom fighters, freedom jets, and the Terran infestation can begin, and the whack-a-mole of bases is commencing. GuMiho just leapfrogging forward. Only 2 disruptors. They don't get great hits. And, I mean, some of the army is in the natural. ShoWTimE can hope to catch that, but at some point, GuMiho's going to find all of your bases. ShoWTimE can perhaps try to take that one as well. He has a big bank. He just needs to be able to spend it. We do have a Dark Templar Shrine. And, oh my god, another base is going to go down. ShoWTimE tried to force his way into all of the SimCity, the Liberator fields, and just all of the bio-reinforcements. GuMiho has a massive bank, or used to have a massive bank that he was exploiting. ShoWTimE has a massive bank as well, but all of his gateways got killed. His infrastructure is almost non-existent. Not rebuilding robos, not rebuilding Stargates, and only has 1... now 2 mining bases remaining. Lots of probes going down. And oh my god, GuMiho is doubling the army supply. The Fist of GuMiho is coming out. 190 army supply. I don't need workers. I just need more dudes to kill you. In this game number 7, the disruptors need to find value, but the freedom fields are just boxing ShoWTimE out. He's stuck between a rock and a Terran army, because he can't walk up this ramp and kill GuMiho, but he also can't fight into this army. And now ShoWTimE going to lose his infrastructure once again. He can maybe warp in a couple DTs. And Shadow Stride not going to finish up. Do have some Stalkers. And, I mean, I wouldn't hate it if he just started rebuilding his infrastructure in the left top of the map. Because why would you go there if you are GuMiho? Because there's just nothing left there. There's nothing to mine, and it's pretty far away. There's a probe going to the top to try and rebuild over there. ShoWTimE is to now just play cat and mouse with the GuMiho. 190 army supply. This army is massive. It's like twice your normal Terran army. Look at it. 5 Ghosts. Pretty nice. 52 Marines. Okay. 13 Libs and 37 Marauders. Like, that's a chunky army. and he wants to chunk ShoWTimE out of this series and take the whole goddamn tournament. ShoWTimE gets caught out in the middle of the map, and GuMiho smells blood in the water, just stims in front his entire army. The Colossus get killed, no freedom zones needed, and ShoWTimE just gets overrun. The G to the G is called by GuMiho, and with 8 SEVs to his name, still a bank remaining, GuMiho just builds the perfect army for his Terran overlords, and he punches his ticket to a grand finals victory. GuMiho takes this best of 7, takes the title of Homestory Cup 25 winner versus ShoWTimE, and what a hard-fought finals it was. Good games to both players, but I mean, ShoWTimE is going to be punching his desk, and it's probably going to crumble right away because he's a fucking massive dude. He has like biceps for days. Like, he can learn from this. He can learn from this like super late game / end game scenarios, but that must have been really rough, especially because the first couple maps were so hard into the favor of ShoWTimE. Congratulations to GuMiho winning Homestory Cup 25. Congratulations to ShoWTimE as well, getting so close, one map away from a tournament victory on home soil. And of course, thank you guys for watching. Congratulations for watching a pretty sick best of 7 finals. And hopefully, I'll see you in another video. Be sure to comment if you want to see any other games from the Homestory Cup 25 or any recent games, because there aren't a lot to go around. And if not, I just appreciate you guys watching. Be sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.